name is Fox Castio, and welcome to another video of me on the internet. Oh boy, it's gonna be a good one today. We're gonna be live in 3, 2, 1. Hello babies, how you doing? How you doing? Some of that, shall we? Alright, so today we're gonna be doing malicious compliance. I don't know how good of an idea this is. It's probably really bad. Alright. Spoiler warning, there may be swearing in this one, so I might have to age restrict it. Might. So yes, let's... Oh boy, here we go. Oh, you want me to ID you for alcohol? Okay. Don't have your ID? SOL. With an S. Someone suggested I post this here. So I was serving a family. The parents were clearly in their 50s/60s. Their kids in the mid-20s. When ordering alcohol, I carded the kids, but not the parents. The mom pipes up with the whole, "Hey, I don't look that old. Why don't you card me?" Which always makes everything very, very awkward, as well as obnoxious and overdone. I responded with, "Okay, let's see your ID then." As it turns out, Mommy dearest left her wallet at home. I inform her that, unfortunately, once requested, I am legally not allowed to serve her alcohol until she produces a valid ID. Obviously, she fucking furious about this. So I send the manager over to confirm with her that I am not allowed to serve her. It almost goes without saying that I didn't receive a tip, but it was worth the shitty five. But it was worth the shitty five that they were going to leave anyway. That is just horrible, alright? There are some people in this world who are very obnoxious, and that mother, she just, wow, that just messes with my mind. That, why are people like that? Hey, I don't look that old. Why don't you card me? Me, because I'm super special, yes. No, you're not special. Baby. You're not special. Alright, you're not special. At all. Look, if you got away with not getting carded, be happy. Alright? Be happy. Alright? There's some people in this world who would kill for that kind of stuff. Alright, here's another one. Please stop ringing me. So, we got a new branch manager at our logistics company. The guy was notorious for being a hard ass, especially regarding sick leave. He came from a much smaller branch, and he was famous in the company because he had driven to the house of a worker who'd run in sick. Rung in the door to see if if he was actually sick. Obvious not the way things were supposed to happen, and highly unpopular with the workers, although he did manage to get himself promoted. Anyway, he was made boss of our branch, and first on his list, solving the sick leave problem, notices went up that if someone was calling in sick, they'd have to ring him directly, not the office. Guess he didn't do the math. With approximately 200 employees, and each employee entitled to 10 sick days a year, that's 2,000 calls a year, and 40 per week, and 8 per day on average, that he directed to be made to himself, personally, with a 24-hour operation over 3 shifts. That means that calls could come anytime. The first day there was a spike in sick leave. Guess something contagious was going around the office. He started to get calls from 3 a.m. to the morning shift, which starts at 0500, every 15 to 20 minutes. Then calls for afternoon shift or night shift roughly throughout the day. At odd times throughout the day and evening. The second day he came in for work, haggard from his lack of sleep. The calls must have kept coming randomly throughout the night, and each time he'd rung the office so he could organize the roster and call replacements. By the third day, he looked terrible. Notices went up that morning to go back to ringing the office if calling in sick. Obviously, some people just don't get the message because calls continue the next night On the fourth day, he took a toolbox meeting. He called a toolbox meeting. Please stop calling me. He begged. That is epic. Alright? They got their boss, this complete hard ass for everything, who literally came to a person who was sick, and now he's like, oh, no, 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 please, 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 no, please don't. Alright, here's the next one. You said stop. Oh my god, this is gonna be a long one. I would like to write about the greatest act of malicious compliance I ever engaged in. Now, this happened decades ago, but I still remember it clearly. When I was about to turn 17, I still didn't have a driver's license. Or really have a burning desire to learn to drive, really. However, my father had mentioned that he would be happy to teach me, and that was so important. So one Sunday morning, we got into my father's 1976 Pontiac Grand Prix. If you're not familiar with this vehicle, it's a large 48, 455 CU inch, 200 horsepower. It was very great with acceleration. I pulled out of our driveway, easy enough, and we turned onto the main road. It was a Sunday morning. There was no real traffic to deal with. Once we were heading down the street, my father suddenly says, "Stop!" So I stepped on the brake pedal and gently brought the vehicle to a complete stop. My father looked very annoyed. Now, I need to tell you about my dad. He's not really a patient man, and from a parent's standpoint, if he felt that I or my sister was not paying attention to him or beating with him, he would get visibly upset and anger very quickly. My father said in a firm voice, "Son, when I say stop, I want you to stop immediately. If something runs in front of the car, we have to stop on a dime." I said I understood, so once again we headed down the road, and as we approached about 25 miles per hour, my father yells, "Stop!" I put my foot on the brake and gently brought the car to a halt, same as before. It was hard for me to slam on the brake for some reason. "God damn it, are you not listening to me?" My father berated me for not abruptly slamming on the brake. "When I say stop, I want you to stop!" He was very angry and loud, and it was making my blood boil. Here comes the MC. I had noticed we had been driving. As we had been driving, my dad wasn't wearing his seatbelt. I had fastened mine as soon as we entered the vehicle. I stepped on the accelerator. I only had one goal in mind: to stop on a dime. When I was told to, however, I decided to speed things up again. The large engine of the Grand Prix revved us and purred as the speedometer needle crept higher and higher. 35, 40, 43. My father yelled, "Stop!" I jammed my foot so hard on the brake, the vehicle came to an immediate halt. My dad levitated from his seat and straight into the large windshield. Hard. I will never forget the look of accusation and confusion that my father gave me that day. As he eased back into his seat, I looked at him with a calm and expression and asked, "Was that what you wanted?" Edit. For those who are wanting to know what happened next, here you go. He feebly nodded. He didn't say anything. How could he? He demanded that I stop. When he said, the rest of his lessons were pretty typical. His forehead was a little sore, but no major injury. I love my dad, but really couldn't stand his unjustified anger. I'm sure many of you can relate. Oh man, that is a great story, because I'm sure a lot of people can relate when, well, your parents, they get angry pretty easy, and mine do as well, so I can completely understand that one. Next, we have, teacher told me to shut up. I got hit on the head with a chair, so I wouldn't scare my classmates. Stayed quiet and ended up scaring them with even more. I remember this happening in my primary school over a decade ago. It would happen to be around lunchtime, and we were taking the chairs down from the top of our desks. The class bully kid thinks it'd be funny if he whacked me on the back of the head with a chair. Of course, the sudden pain of being whacked on the back of the head made me scream in pain and almost fall over, but I managed to grab on the table and stop myself from falling. The teacher who heard the commotion started to yell at me while I was still in tears for screaming because apparently I scared my classmates. I tried to tell her that the bully hit me with the chair, but she thought I was making it up for attention. So the bully got off scot-free. She told me that if I made another sound, I would be sent straight to the principal's office. A few minutes later, the spot where I had began it really hurt, but I was afraid to tell my teacher because I didn't want to get in trouble. So I decided to keep my mouth shut. The teacher got up, left the room. That was the last thing I remember before I blacked out. I woke up in the principal's office, apparently. After I blacked out, the little 8-year-olds in my class freaked out and panicked so much that the teacher came running back and saw me passed out on the desk. That teacher should have probably lost her job because, well, that's a child and they just got hit in the back of the head. They wouldn't just scream for no reason. Okay, they're not me. They're not complete attention whores. But, dear God, woman. Walking out like, oh, yeah, whatever, screw the kids, right? Jesus. Teachers like that shouldn't have jobs, let alone be... and whatever. They're going through my mail? Alright. Context. Recently got out of the hospital. They recommended I go to drug and alcohol therapy to my parents, so they don't trust me anymore. Backstory. I was really into stick and pokes, and I love tattoos. I regularly have tattoos, needles, and ink delivered to my house. I had some pretty expensive ink delivered to my house. Came home one day to retrieve it and saw the package was nowhere in sight. Not on the porch, not in my room, nowhere. I text my parents and ask if the package came. They call me and proceed to bitch at me for buying tattoo ink, and they threaten to take all my shit and have my ink and needles for tattoos. They continue to go through my mail, and they say they need to open all my package before I can have them. The MaliciousCompliance, I get pissed, naturally. After my expensive ass ink gets taken away, and they keep going through all my mail. I then went to one of the glitter bomb asshole package. I went on to one of those glitter bomb asshole package websites and ordered and mailed myself a prank package. I spring-loaded the confetti bomb that explodes dick-shaped confetti at full force right into your face, naturally. And I waited so they would go through my mail. As the days went by, they don't go through my mail anymore. Hospital was not for a drug-related reason. Ha ha. Oh, you gotta love parents sometimes, you know? Oh, yes, we don't trust you for some reason. And, now we're gonna go through all your mail. Oh, yeah, I'm Linda from Bob's Burgers. Amazing. Wait, now I'm absurd from Puff and Forest. Alright, next one. Always leave the door unlocked. Okay. I go off to college for my last 2 years. I'm going to be in the good boy dorms. A quad bedroom with a kitchen and 2 bathrooms. I thought I could get along with anyone. This turned out to be not the case. My roommates were volleyball girls on a full ride who were in tight with all the football players, and I'm an English major. Nerd. Theater minor geek. Roomies like coming in and out all the time. They don't even have... Yeah, and they don't like having to use their keys. Like ever. So, when I get mad... When I come home and lock the door, even if I leave to lock the door because I might lock them out if they are doing laundry or something for like an hour or two, even if they don't tell me. I say this is dangerous and not something that I would like to do partially because of theft and partially because of theft. They tell me I'm worried about stuff being stolen. I can just make sure to keep my door room locked. That's how they want it. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's gonna happen. They say it's not your job to make sure that your shit doesn't get stolen. It's not our job to make sure your shit doesn't get stolen. Had to do a retake on that one. I also object to the fact that it's some kind of grand central station. They know all the football players, and all the football players all just walk in, even if we aren't home. I tell my roomies that with the unlocked door policy, I have no idea who is and isn't allowed in. They sneer at me for being so uncool, and they tell me not to worry about it. So I didn't. Cue malicious compliance. I leave the apartment door unlocked at all times but always lock my room door. I talk to the football players who are such sweet guys. I turned gay for that one. And tell them I'm on a budget and not to take anything from one cabinet where I kept my stuff, because I noticed there's times when the football players come in with a box of cereal, then help themselves to one of my roomies' bowls or milk, and spoon disappeared back to their own rooms. By the end of the semester, we're almost no cups, no bowls, nothing. I have my own, and only store one at a time eh, of each in the kitchen. Out of desperation, one of the roomies ends up using mine, so I go ahead and keep them all in my room instead. It's not my roomies don't know that our guests do this, but it doesn't stop the roomies from being passive aggressively complaining about it and accusing me of taking them. I mentioned that they allowed it and that all my stuff and food has never been stolen because I asked that it not be taken. One day a tall, broad-shouldered dude comes in, walks by me, and goes into one of their rooms. He comes out with a stereo system. Leaves. I don't question this. Not my place. Like they said, in fact. I barely look up from my studies. I assume he, like everyone else, has permission. Like an hour later, one of my roommates says that her stereo is missing. She is losing her shit. I say calmly, "Yep, that guy took it." "What? What guy? Who was it?" "Big dude. I don't know." I shrug. Could have been a football player. I was then interrogated about the person, what he looked like, and all I got was big and tall, I think black, but he could have been really tan. Every football player on the team fit that description, honestly. I hadn't looked at him. "You saw him take my stereo and you didn't stop him? You didn't ask him anything? How could you let this happen?" "Door's always unlocked. Everyone's allowed in. If you're worried about theft, you can always keep the door locked." Rumi didn't get the irony. There are many other stories to share about them, like the time I came home from spring break and they asked that I unlock my room to search for their lease-violating python, or the or the time they got a free hotel room when our dorm was flooded because of a football player above us and left me because of a football player above us and left me there to take care of their shit when maintenance came by, or the time I unknowingly had a passive-aggressive washcloth war with one of them, but those are other sagas. They were excellent motivation to get roommates that might not be total douchebags. Starting series here, just something to start you off. Volley girls, washcloth war. Alright, get wow. What terrible people. But you know what? I'm gonna end it here, guys. I just can't anymore. With people like this, they make me so angry. And, alright. Here's some music to close you guys out. Peace.